Welcome to Manna at the Tap, a podcast from Tapestry Ministries. Each episode reflects on a daily Bible reading from the Revised Common Lectionary. I'm Gloria, a fellow traveler on a spiritual journey with the Tapestry community, and we refer to the daily Bible reading as our spiritual manna. It nourishes our souls, fostering spiritual growth as we share insights and interpretations that enrich our spiritual lives. Today is Wednesday, December the 10th, 2025. It is the second week of Advent, and the focus is on the week of peace. The lectionary reading is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 12. It's the Sabbath. Jesus and his disciples are walking. The disciples are hungry, and as they walk through a field of ripe grain, they pluck the heads of grain and eat them. Some Pharisees saw this and complained to Jesus that his disciples were breaking the Sabbath rules. Now, according to the Pharisees, the disciples were guilty of working on the Sabbath. Jesus defended his disciples by reminding the Pharisees of an incident where King David and his men were hungry. David asked the local priest if he had any bread they could eat. All that was available was the bread designated for the priest. David and his men ate the bread, and it was not held against them. Jesus told the Pharisees that there was more at stake than simply obeying a rigid and inflexible ritual. If they had a compassionate heart, they wouldn't be nitpicking like this. Jesus then added that he had the authority to know if his disciples broke the Sabbath law, because he is the Lord even of the Sabbath. Jesus then left the field and went into the local synagogue with his disciples, and directly in front of him was a man with a withered hand. The Pharisees knew that Jesus would do something when he saw the man, and they questioned him about whether it was legal to heal on the Sabbath. Jesus then asked them, "Is there anyone here who, if they found one of their lambs fallen into a ravine, wouldn't pull it out, even if it was a Sabbath?" This person deserves the same treatment as the animal. Jesus then called out to the man to extend his hand, and when he did, it was healed. The Pharisees were furious and left the synagogue, threatening to kill Jesus. Jesus left the synagogue, and many sick people followed him, and they were healed, including a man who was blind and mute. When the Pharisees heard about this particular healing, they accused Jesus of working with Satan's power. The lectionary reading focuses on Matthew chapter 12, verses 33 to 37. The words of the religious leaders reveal the depravity of their hearts, and Jesus will use the metaphor of a tree to help the people understand that the words we speak show what is in our hearts. A tree is known by its fruit. Jesus called the religious leaders a brood of vipers, effectively describing them as the children of Satan. It was their wicked nature that led them to speak evil of Jesus. Their words were like rotten fruit growing on a tree with bad roots. You see, the words we speak come from our hearts. And if our hearts are full of good treasures, then what we say and do will affect that. So the question to consider today is, what kind of tree are you? Your words and actions will show that to everyone, and eventually we will have to answer for all the words that we have spoken.